Alright, what's up guys? So this is basically like part two of week three. Right? Basically this is the update for the week. And this is like basically part two of it, right? Because I did could say part one yesterday. I don't know if I'll be able to join both videos. It depends on the time span. But if I can't, then they'll be separated. So let's get into this. So basically GPAD is a trade that I was saying about where I would want the weekly time, the weekly to had a to have a pullback within this area of interest in order to then look for some type of buy, right? But I was saying that I would sell from this area back into this area because that's my prediction, right? I predict that the weekly or overall um the candlesticks are over in the market, right? The market would need to have a pullback in order to consider creating that new higher high, higher lows, higher high, right? So in order to continue going bullish, the market will need a pullback. So the pullback is what I predicted. So here in the weekly time frame, you can see that we're clearly bullish, and we had this pin bar closure and the weekly time frame. That's a confluence, major confluence, by the way. We had this doji, which is even more of a confluence because price is basically saying that I don't know which way to go. But the fact that we're below our area of interest is telling me that it's going to go down because we're below, right? But that being said, that does not guarantee it. It's just like a confluence once again. So we went onto the daily time frame. We saw even more confluence where the candlestick that broke above came back below, right? So it was not exactly below the references, but it closed basically below, it's basically right here. That's pretty much below. Yeah, I don't want to say it's below though, because I still took into consideration the fact that it did not exactly close there. So that is when I stated that I wanted price to be below this area on the 4 hour time frame in order to take a sell, right? Because that would be a major confluence. But I saw that price broke below, and I saw that price came back for a pullback at the same area of interest. You can see it here on the 1 hour time frame. This 1 hour pullback. So we had a shift of structure right here, pullback into the area of interest. Then on 30 minutes time frame is where we took our sell with this engulfing candlestick. So from there, we entered the trade and basically we profited from this trade, but we did not profited the way that we wanted to. Because what our official goal was is that we wanted to reach $40, and then from the $40, which I wanted to restore a ratio, we would then gain $80, right, in total. So that $80 on top of the $80 that balance that I had because I lost $8 last week. So that being said, right, we would then go up to like 160. So the 160, right, would be the official, or rather the target balance for this ending week. But at this very moment, we're at 140. So we're $20 away. But we end up closing this trade because I didn't like how it was looking, and the fact that I was working and stuff for it, I did not want the trade to like totally reverse on me, because bear in mind that we're coming into an area where we might have those potential rejections where it might actually go up from there. Right. So I saw that price was rejecting here. And if we should go on the forward, then you're gonna see a lot of rejections from this area for interest. You have one, two, three, and four. I have more over there. So it's area of interest that is respected, but it's not very, like, it's not like a strong area of interest, because in daily time frame we have little to no rejection, right? We have one rejection here, and I can't bother to go all the way out there. So there's one rejection in recent price action. That's nothing. You know what I mean? And on the weekly, it's pretty much worse. We only have one. Yes, yeah, we only have one. So that being said, it's not like a massive area of interest saying that, oh yes, you have to respect me. No. So I could have still be holding this right now, but as I said, I was working, too much was going on, so I couldn't really concentrate on the market. I just know that I was in a trade and I do not want it to reverse on me, because after all, we're behind, right, on the challenge. And based off what I'm seeing right now, I'm not totally sure, but I think I am behind right now, regardless of, even if I was to make that 160, I think I'm still behind, because what I'm seeing here is that the starting balance, right? The starting balance was what? like $60 or something like that. And then from there, week one, we would be up $90. So from 60 to 90, right? And then week two will be up 135. But week two, I think, is where I lost the $8. So we did not get to 185. So week two basically lost $8. And then week three, which is this week, I should be up like $200. And I'm nowhere near that. Or let's say between 164 or 165, 165 and $200. I'm looking at the plan right now. So I'm telling you guys straight up that I should be at 165 balance or 160 or 200. So I'm nowhere near none of those. The nearest one, the nearest target that I'm at right now is 165. And that will basically be $25 on what I already have. So I think I might re-enter this trade, but depends on the time. It depends on the time, because I might re-enter this trade, but it does totally depend on the time and how much confidence is there. Because I'm not just going to re-enter a trade because I want to catch up to the plan. Because in doing that, I can actually lose out on trade, lose out on money, and then I'll be even more behind. So for my peace sake and for my balance and for the challenge overall, I'm trying my very best not to make any unnecessary trades and make any stupid mistakes whatsoever. You know, there's some mistakes that you know that it's not really a mistake, right? Because it's a decision that you took, and yeah, you know what you're doing, so it's not really a mistake at that point, right? So that being said, I really have to think this through before I even think about re-entering this trade because bear in mind, this is a year of interest, even though it's not really strong, but still it's a year of interest. But what I like right now is that you can see that price is slowing down right now, so it's indicating that price will have that continuation push because it's slowing down, right? So I expect to have some type of engulfing to re-enter this trade sometime soon, probably like around 8:39 at my time. I don't know. So let's see. Okay, so still nothing regarding to this trade, which is AD card. You know, as you guys know, yesterday the kind of state break above the air inches or saying that, so nothing happened there. Still no trade. Euro card looks like it cooking. I know what it's doing right now. Price is still within the F interest, so that means it's still below. So that being said, we're gonna keep an eye out. The only way that would be interesting in having in taking this trade if price should break up below this area. So if price should have a shifter structure, right? Shifter trend or shifter structure, same thing, and then have a pullback into this EF interest, then we'll be able to take it to the downside because we can clearly see here in the 2 hour that we are bullish and we're creating this inverted head and shoulders pattern as well. So that's basically a turn on for me, you know. Like before you could see this left head, right shoulder, right? But now we're seeing an inverted head and shoulders, which is like the left, the head, the right shoulder. So that's a turn off for me right there. So if price should break below, then come up for a pullback, then I'll be interested in taking this sell. But for now, not interested. And what I would want from the 4 time frame is a massive engulfing candlestick, something like this, to take the trade from this year of interest to the downside. But for now, not interested in euro CAD. Let's check GBUSD. Oh yeah, I did mention to you that this trade was pretty much playing out perfectly. And it did play out perfectly. So the before engulfing that I said to you that I was not around, so wasn't able to take this trade. I was working. Right, I was at work. I didn't start working yet, but I was at work. Or did I start working? I did start working because this goes at 8 and I started working at 7. So I could have potential into this market. I was saying that from like what 7:30 or something like that. I think because this is a 30 minutes engulfing right here. Right? Or I could have also entered here. But as I said, I said I was working. I was doing something, right? It depends on the time. It's either I was at work or I started working. So I could have taken this trade as well if I was paying attention, but I wasn't. Anyways, that being said, I still profited from a market, which is this market right here. So I'm not trying to be too greedy. And then this last market, which is USD CHF, still nothing going on. So basically not interested. So that being said, that is basically the week for now. I'll update y'all if I take any trade. If I don't re-enter this trade, then there is no point in updating. This is basically going to be the last video, right? So this would be the last video if there is no trade. So basically, part one and part two, basically, and it's ended in part two. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will keep you guys in touch. If I enter this trade, then I will basically tell you all that I enter this trade tomorrow. Right. So yeah.